Is this what you want? This fucking foliage? Is this what you want? Mr. Dips? Is this what you want? Me standing in front of EC3 buying designer coats? Is this what you want? Me sitting in some hipster hotel in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, fluffing pillows? Is this what you want? I don't believe this. This graffiti art, the hotels, avocado toast. All I want is a fucking Guinness. An ice cold Guinness. What the hell does that mean? Oh, this is what you wanted. This is your Monday Night Raw review right here on Off the Script. I find it incredibly laughable. And I find it to be incredibly amusing that WWE has absolutely no shame. They have no remorse. They have no compassion at all for their fan base. It is so fucking humorous, man. It's like I'm watching a goddamn comedy show. I've been saying, especially the last couple of weeks, because if you watch the program, you know what I'm talking about. If you've been watching the program for the last couple of weeks, you will know that WWE provides you hidden truths, whether it be a promo or a character portrayal, in this case, Sami Zayn. There's these little quirks, these little hidden meanings in their programming that are used to mock the fans. Now, if you're watching the show on a semi-regular basis, if you're a casual and you're not really keen on picking these things up, it's going to go right over your head. But if you are a frequent, if you are a regular viewer, and you hear this shit, and you see these characters, you're going to pick up on it like that. And you're going to tie the pieces together, and you're going to realize that WWE at the end of the day is mocking you. They've done it with Charlotte, they've done it with Lacey Evans, and they did it several times on Monday Night Raw last night. Now, we'll get to Sami Zayn when we talk about Sami Zayn in the order of the show. But the one damning piece of evidence last night was the fact that WWE gave us another Firefly Funhouse with Bray Wyatt, but it wasn't even the segment itself. It was what they did at the end of the segment to pretty much throw it in your face that the people running this show are nothing more than a bunch of sociopaths. And if you go to Google and you look up the profile of a sociopath, you will realize that what you're reading is everything that is WWE creative. You will realize that what you're reading is from the very top all the way to the very bottom of WWE. These are the people running your company. It's fucking hilarious. Hilarious. And then when you call them out on the shit that they're not doing right, they think that they are doing right. They don't want to listen to anybody. Then they take a Sami Zayn character and mock everyone like you and me. And it's fucking embarrassing. I'm not even going to go over all the traits or the profiles of a sociopath. I'll read you one or two. Maybe if I'm up to it, three. Because there's so much here that just kind of correlates to who Vince McMahon is. Grandiose sense of self. Feels entitled to certain things as their right. Pathologically lying. Has no problem lying coolly and easily, and it's almost impossible for them to be truthful on a consistent basis. Can create and get caught up in a complex belief about their own powers and abilities, extremely convincing, and even able to pass a lie detector test. Shallow emotions. When they show what seems to be warmth, joy, love, and compassion It is more feigned than experienced and serves as an ulterior motive. Outraged by insignificant matters, yet remained unmoved and cold by what would upset a normal person since they are not genuine. Neither are their promises. This one really takes the fucking cake, folks. Irresponsibility and unreliability. Not concerned about wrecking others' lives and dreams. Oblivious or indifferent to the devastation that they cause. Does not accept blame themselves, but blames others, even for acts they obviously committed. You tell me that does not perfectly describe Vince McMahon? Hidden truths, folks. Hidden truths. You're not going to go listen to anybody else in the community give you the fucking meaning of the word sociopath. Nobody's going to piece the fucking puzzle together because it goes over their fucking heads. They want to say and claim that they're every week viewers, yet they act like fucking casuals, oblivious to everything that is going on around them. We don't do that here. I don't know who the fuck is watching this show and could honestly say that it's worth watching every single week. That there's positive emitting from this show. There's no positive. You cannot sit here and praise this show on anything because the more that they do this shit, the farther people move away from the product. WWE wants to cite the reason that ratings are down is because of talent absences. Talent absences, you say? Who the fuck was absent? A part-time John Cena? Roman Reigns? Roman Reigns was never a mover of the needle anyway. John Cena, even when he was there, wasn't moving the needle as you expect him to move the needle. This is WWE's position to create new stars. You got some of the most talented fucking men and women that you scooped up off the independent scene so that they don't go to an All Elite Wrestling or a New Japan or a Ring of Honor. You got one of the brightest fucking futures in some of these guys in Andrade and Ricochet and Aleister Black and everybody in NXT. Yet you want to cite the reason that the ratings are down or talent absences. What are you doing with the current talent that you got to position them in a way that people want to watch the fucking show? You're not. You're not. You take the talent, you merely fill a hole. They are merely used to fill an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, up to 5 hours of weekly content that mean nothing. There's no logical meaning behind anything that you do. And it's just rinse and repeat. Every single week. And then you want to cite the reason why the ratings are down is because of talent absences. And you want to go on social media and you want to mock your fans like Road Dogg and all these other fucking people in the company. Then you want to go on Monday Night Raw and use catalysts like Sami Zayn to mock the fans. Sami Zayn is Vince McMahon with a red beard. That's all it is. And then you want to know why people aren't watching your show. Then you want to know why ratings are down. Then you want to know why there are so many fan complaints. And why can't people be happy? Just watch the show and be entertained by what they give you. But at the end of the day, it's not entertaining. Because your company is run by a bunch of fucking sociopaths. I find it very hilarious that they used that word last night on Monday Night Raw. I got a word of my own. Get out your fucking pens and paper. Put your cell phones on silent. It's time to go to class. Boring. Not interesting and tedious. I've got a boring job in an office. I'm going to change that. Monday Night Raw at 3 hours every Monday night on the USA Network is boring. Other words to go along with boring? tedious, dull, monotonous, etc., etc. That's my word of the fucking day. In fact, that's my word of the year. Every Monday. Boring. Every single week, it is the same shit over and over and over again. Every single week, there is something to complain about more and more. Every single week, WWE acts as if whatever happened last week is of no importance. I don't know how difficult it is to write this show in its current format. A fucking simpleton can write this show. The argument that I seen on social media yesterday, on Monday afternoon, everybody was getting their Game of Thrones fix. See people that I know in the community citing reasons, well, if Game of Thrones can write such captivating television, why can't Monday Night Raw? Why don't you hire the writers over at Game of Thrones to write Monday Night Raw? Then you got the apologists who sit there and chime in, well, you got 5 hours of television you gotta write, where Game of Thrones has all year to write 6 or 7 episodes. That's not the fucking point. That's not the point. There's no effort in WWE. There's effort in Game of Thrones. You either have it or you don't. WWE should have it. They should be excited to write with all the talent that they have. You either have it or you don't. You either write captivating television or you don't. They take the don't. They don't want to. Maybe they can't. Maybe you got a whole fucking different can of worms. Get rid of everybody then. You either write or you don't write. Every time you pick up a fucking pen to write this show, you either put effort into it or you don't. Clearly, every single week, WWE shows you that they don't have the power within them. That they don't want to write a good show. The word sociopath and whatever Sami Zayn was going on about last night was done by design. It was done to mock you. It was done to tell you we don't give a fuck about what you think or what you say. And the people running this company are a bunch of sociopaths, all the way from the top to the bottom. Absolutely disgusting. Everybody wants to say, oh, ha, 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 ha. Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse was a thumbs up this week, yet the hidden meaning in it is pretty much telling you to go fuck yourself. This is Monday Night Raw. We got a lot to go over. I really don't even want to be here. I really don't even want to fucking be here. This show was so fucking bad, I opted not to record last night. And I still don't want to talk about it today. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. JD from NY206 on both Twitter and Instagram. Thank you all for the new follows on Twitter. I believe we are now at 26,300 plus. Thank you guys so much for that. Follow me on the Patreon, man. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. If you guys want to go get your t-shirts, JD's Elite. One of the best-selling t-shirts in the YWC and my best-selling t-shirt, period. Link is down below. The official shop is on bonfire.com. Go and get your JD's Elite shirt today, designed by my boy, Sal Rex. We got a ton of stuff if you guys missed it on the channel. We got off the script last weekend talking about Bray Wyatt and shareholders, stockholders wanting to end it. We talked about that on part 1, part 2. We talked about Becky, 2 belts. It's going to be Becky, no belts at the end of Money in the Bank. And then Tony Atlas says WWE doesn't need Sasha Banks. Well, by the end of Monday Night Raw, I'm sure Sasha Banks is saying, they need me more now than ever. Also, WWE supposedly had the Money in the Bank participants leaked, and I'm assuming WWE caught wind of that and changed everything from the local advertisements that were sent out. So make sure you guys go and check that video out. An hour and a half. I also, in part 3, talk about Luke Harper's situation. WWE did not grant him a release and added 6 months additionally to his contract. So we go over that as well. Go check that out on the channel, man. This podcast is brought to you by Audible. audibletrial.com/offthescript. 30 days free just for listening to me rant and rave about Monday Night Raw. audibletrial.com/offthescript. 30 days free of their service, and that includes 1 free audiobook of your choice. So make sure you guys go and download the app, go through the sign-up process. You will not be billed. You will not be billed. Then you got 30 days of Audible, and as a thank you for signing up for free, they're going to give you 1 free audiobook of your choice. If you feel at any time in the 30 days that Audible is not for you, you can cancel on day 1 or day 30, and you still get to keep your audiobook for free. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Monday Night Raw opened up with Alexa Bliss and a moment of bliss. She came out and announced the Money in the Bank ladder match participants for the men. And I'm looking at these participants, and some of them, I would say 2 of them in this instance, are correct from the local advertisements that were leaked over the weekend, which we talked about on Monday's episode of Off the Script, Part 3. Braun Strowman, Ricochet, Baron Corbin, and Drew McIntyre were announced for Money in the Bank. Now, I mentioned last week that WWE should really book qualifying matches instead of just announcing these men and women for Money in the Bank. WWE didn't do that. I talked about it last week because last week WWE sent out the advertisement that Alexa Bliss was going to be announcing all the men and the women that will be participating. I don't know if she's going to show up on SmackDown. She probably will, and WWE will say fuck the brand split because Alexa Bliss is a Raw superstar. I mentioned it last week, but it's more of a subject this week. WWE should have really gone in a way, creatively, in which the fans got qualifying matches for the Money in the Bank ladder match. Why didn't they do qualifying matches? Maybe it is WWE just being lazy. Maybe it's just WWE not giving a shit. Maybe WWE doesn't feel people would be invested in qualifying matches. But why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't you go out of your comfort zone and make something feel important, like a Money in the Bank qualifying match? I want you to look at the grand scheme of Money in the Bank and the ladder matches in which everybody in that match is competing for the briefcase, which contains a world title opportunity. If you really want to look at it, the winner of that match is the number 1 contender for whichever world title is on their brand. Why would a match like this not have qualifying matches? Why would a match like this just randomly pick people to have participating in such an important match? I don't get it. You know, there are positives to WWE running qualifying matches. It fills out the shows better. I honestly think it would make people a little bit more invested in what they are watching than they are currently right now. And there's 3 weeks before Money in the Bank. There's 3 weeks before Money in the Bank. You tell me that the most you can do with what you got right now going into Money in the Bank is what you gave us on Monday Night Raw. Man, the WWE creative team is just bursting with ideas. Tag team matches between the babyfaces and the heels is the best you got. What's to come in the weeks to come, people? What is next? What is on tap for next week? We got Braun Strowman and Ricochet. Kind of sounds similar to Braun Strowman and his pairing with Finn Balor about 4 or 5 months ago. Probably not even 4 or 5 months ago. Before that. Ricochet's the new Finn Balor. They love teaming these high acrobatic, high offensive guys, these smaller guys with Braun Strowman. I think WWE, Vince McMahon, more importantly, has a fetish by pairing Braun Strowman with the smallest guy on the roster. We got a tag team match with the heels and the baby faces. What's to come next week? It's going to be Ricochet versus Baron Corbin? Drew McIntyre versus Braun Strowman? What about the week after that? Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman? Ricochet versus Drew McIntyre? Then what on the go-home show? You're going to put them in a fatal four-way? Do you see how lazy people... You think I'm joking? I swear to God, if you see exactly what I mentioned right here over the next 3 weeks on Monday Night Raw, don't be surprised. That is their mentality. They have the mentality of a fucking 7-year-old. This is not the mentality of a pro wrestling writer. This is not the mentality of someone who gives a shit. Qualifying matches would have given people a reason to watch the show. You could have spaced them out over the next 3 weeks. 2 tonight, 2 next week. Then you could have did whatever the fuck you wanted on the go-home show. Same thing with SmackDown Live. 2 today, 2 next week, and then whatever the fuck you want to do on the go-home show. Same thing for the women. But no, WWE wants to take the easy way out. And if you want to go a little bit deeper into the situation, how the fuck did these men get chosen for Money in the Bank? Now, let's look at Braun Strowman. If you want to bring to me the excuse, and I'm using it as an excuse because he's honestly done nothing. Braun Strowman won last year. Which, by the way, they did not mention him failing last year. They mentioned Baron Corbin failing, but they didn't mention Braun Strowman failing. And he very much failed. He actually cashed in honorably and then lost the opportunity to Roman Reigns. You want to look at Braun Strowman. He won last year's match. What he did with the briefcase after the fact is irrelevant. He won last year's match. He is the defending Money in the Bank champion. You could look at it that way. You got to win this year's match by going through last year's winner. Okay, I get it. I get it. But Baron Corbin's push seems to be done on purpose to piss the fans off more and more each and every week. Baron Corbin was in the main event of last week's show, which featured the 4th biggest drop from hour 1 to hour 3 in the history of Monday Night Raw. A show that featured him wrestling twice. WWE continues to push this guy in main event spots, and no one gives a shit. I am not telling you that he is not a good heel. He's just not a heel that needs to be in the main event. So for the simple fact that you got Cesaro, you got Cedric Alexander, you got Samoa Joe, Rey Mysterio, all on your roster, and yet you pick Baron Corbin to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match? New era and a superstar shakeup, you say? I don't think so. Now we got Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre has done literally nothing to be where he is in this match. He lost a triple threat match last week, and this is exactly what I mentioned last week. You put all these guys in an opportunity to fight for the world title. And most of these guys were only going to be put in the ladder match anyway. Do you see how lazy that sounds? So you're going to give them an opportunity one week, have most of them lose, and then just grant them, for absolutely no reason, another opportunity to get another world title opportunity. What has Drew McIntyre done? Absolutely nothing. Ricochet. You want to dive deeper into the fucking pool of illogical creative? Ricochet. Ricochet lost to Robert Roode last week. And here he is getting an opportunity at the number one contender for the Universal Championship. Why isn't Robert Roode in this match? Did they even mention Ricochet losing to Robert Roode last week on Monday Night Raw? In fact, where was Robert Roode on Monday Night Raw? Oh, that's right, he wasn't even booked for the show after being one of the most talked about guys and segments on the whole fucking show last week. How did they all get there? I want to know why. WWE doesn't give us the why. As far as I'm concerned, Alexa Bliss chose these four guys for whatever reason. Did they fuck Alexa Bliss during the week? Is this WWE's version of, oh, who fucks Alexa best? Is this the reason why they were chosen? There's no logical reason for anyone to be chosen here. And then you people think that I just sit here and I complain for no reason. Oh, just enjoy the show for what it is. As far as I'm concerned, I'm asking why, and the only thing I could think of last night, and I'm not even joking when I say it, is they all slept with Alexa Bliss, and these are the men that she chose to be in Money in the Bank. And why are you having Alexa Bliss announce these fucking participants? This is a big fucking deal. Yet you're giving it to Alexa Bliss to announce on her fucking piss-poor show? I'm sorry, if a Money in the Bank ladder match of this importance is going to be announced with the men and women participating in this match, I'm going to have a McMahon or some authority figure do it, not some fucking piss-poor athlete who calls herself a professional wrestler. Ridiculous. Moving on here. That was the way they opened the show. On top of that, banter back and forth. Ricochet was obviously the most over here. Kentucky, hometown crowd, he was very over. Now, Corbin asked if someone said something, pretending not to hear Ricochet speak. Ricochet obviously threw it back in Baron Corbin's face. Well, didn't you fail your Money in the Bank cash-in? So clearly they got to write in such a way that, demoralizes Ricochet as he's the smallest guy in the match, and he's an indie darling. That they got to poke the fucking the vanilla midget tree. They got to go there. Oh, Ricochet is small. He's an indie darling. We got Drew McIntyre coming up and dwarfing him, saying, you may be great and all, but leave the talk to the big boys. Not really something I want out of my wrestling show. Meanwhile, he's the most athletic and talented guy in that fucking ring. Yeah, it's a heel thing to do to put down the smaller babyface, but that's not the way I see it, because the way I see it is WWE just going back to their old bag of tricks. Oh, Ricochet's an indie darling, we'll use the main roster guys to bury the smaller guy. Fucking stupid. Drew told Corbin to shut up. And apparently, the one positive out of this entire segment was WWE legitimately ending the partnership between Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin. That was the biggest takeaway from this entire thing. Now, yes, they did team, but they are not going to be a duo moving forward. And I'm glad. Because Drew McIntyre seemed like a third wheel. Drew McIntyre is not a lackey. Drew McIntyre has realistically had his momentum stifled because of his pairing with Bobby Lashley and Baron Corbin. It did him no good. It did him no good whatsoever. So for the simple fact that they're slowly starting to break that shit away is the best thing for a Drew McIntyre. This all led to a tag team match when Braun Strowman finally said enough. Told them if they wanted a preview of what they have coming at Money in the Bank, you two against Ricochet and me. And he said they'll get these hands. Very formulaic bullshit. Announcement, banter between all four guys leads to a tag team match. Unbelievable, man. What a thrilling way to start Monday Night Raw. Tag team match was very basic. It went 14 minutes. Ricochet was the babyface who was beat down. Braun Strowman struggled to try and turn the momentum. He received a Claymore kick on the outside, which he sold for about 3 minutes. devastating Claymore kick on the outside, sold it, came back to the apron, Ricochet made the hot tag, power slam, shooting star press, babyfaces win. The match was very basic. The match actually came off very well on TV because of the hometown crowd for Ricochet and the casuals cheering for the babyfaces. That was it. Other than that, very formulaic, boring tag team match. The Usos versus Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. You're probably asking yourself, well, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows are on SmackDown, aren't they? Not anymore. Not anymore. Apparently, WWE has moved Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows to Monday Night Raw. Mind you, no tweet, no Instagram post, nothing on WWE.com, nothing on the YouTube channel. They just magically show up. Magically show up. No warning at all. I don't know what is worse. The fact that Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows are still with the WWE, or the fact that WWE still has a superstar shakeup ongoing 3 weeks after the night of the superstar shakeup. Confusion. They don't know what they want to do. Now, I have 2 things I want to say about this move of the club. 1, who the fuck is on SmackDown Live as far as tag teams go? It's been reported that the Hardys are injured. Jeff Hardy, anyway. Matt Hardy is supposedly going to address the rumors, quote unquote, of Jeff being hurt on SmackDown Live tonight. But if the club has moved over to Monday Night Raw, who the fuck is on SmackDown Live? Heavy Machinery, you got the B-Team, you got the Colognes, and you got AOP, I'm assuming, when they come back, is going to go right to SmackDown Live. I'm assuming. Can't assume anything with WWE, really, because they'll probably put them on Monday Night Raw. The Revival wanted tag team competition, you say. Let's load up the fucking division and then still bury the Revival. Who's on SmackDown Live? At this point, I would take the titles off the Hardys or have the Hardys show up on Monday Night Raw and pretty much play up to the real aspect of there are no teams. The shakeup has left us with no teams. We are coming to Monday Night Raw. We are the greatest tag team in all of space and time. And put up the fucking titles against Ryder and Hawkins. And have a unification of tag team titles. And merge the fucking divisions. Because the divisions are completely one-sided. Now, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. I don't know why WWE has opted to not say anything about their move. Maybe WWE wants to treat these guys as unimportant and they felt that these guys didn't deserve an announcement. But it could be that, or it could be WWE is keeping Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows under the radar and they're on Monday Night Raw for one specific reason. And we'll talk about that at the end of the podcast. This match was very boring. This match was boring against the Usos, which it is very rare of me to say an Usos match is very boring. By the way, the Usos came out singing their own theme song. I don't know what is going on with that, if that's going to be a recurring thing every single week, but it needs to stop. The Usos don't need to be portrayed like 2 clowns jumping up and down singing their own theme song like R-Truth. The Usos are tough, they are rough, they take no bullshit, they don't need to be singing a theme song that is overly intimidating already, and when you hear the theme and the beat, you know who the fuck is coming out! Unnecessary. This is one of those things that WWE apparently overlooked on, or Vince McMahon, I should say, overlooked on SmackDown Live. Wasn't that big of a deal on SmackDown Live, but now since he's on Monday Night Raw and he's in control over Monday Night Raw, now he's got to have these little things changed here and there. Unnecessary. The Usos don't need to be portrayed as 2 guys singing their own theme song. They do enough in the ring to a point where you don't need to do that. The Usos win here. Really nothing to this match whatsoever. Usos eventually won with a top rope splash after stereo super kicks to Luke Gallows. Again, the club on Monday Night Raw gotta be there for a reason. No mention of their move whatsoever. They got to be there for a reason. After the match, you thought them singing their own theme song was bad. They came out singing their own theme song. They win. And then they kick it right to the Titantron, where they're apparently pulling off some MTV fucking bullshit. And they're just taking the form of Johnny Knoxville. And they're hee ha 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 pranking the Revival in the back, filming them, while Scott Dawson is in the shower wearing nothing but a towel, and Dash Wilder is shaving his hairy back. Let me repeat that. Dash Wilder was showcased on the Titantron, being filmed by the Usos, shaving his tag team partner's back. This supposedly is one of the best teams in the world. Yet WWE is treating them like AOPP. I got flashbacks of Drake Maverick and AOPP on Monday Night Raw with the Revival. So much so that when the Revival had their match against Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, the crowd started to chant, "Shave your back." This is what you want for your former tag team champions. And the reason why this happened is because earlier in the day, Sean Ross Sapp reported that WWE offered the Revival 5 years, 5-year contracts at $500,000 per year to stay with the WWE. They both turned it down. Why would you sign a 5-year contract right now at $500,000 per year? No matter how much money WWE is throwing at you, they know why WWE is throwing that much money at them. They know that the WWE doesn't want them to go to AEW. But realistically, why would anyone sign a 5-year extension to your existing deal right now, no matter how much money it's worth? If WWE has shown you that they don't give a shit about you at all. Nothing has changed as far as the Revival goes. Yet you want them to sign on for another 5 years? If you show them that things are changing for the better, then maybe they'll think about it. But the simple fact that the division has not gotten better since they last complained, you took the titles off of them at WrestleMania in a match that was booked 5 days before the actual event, and a tag team match that had zero build against two guys who are jobbers, one of them who was on a 260-match losing streak. Yet you want them to sign a 5-year extension. They say no, and WWE embarrasses them by having Dash Wilder shave Scott Dawson's back, all while the Usos are filming in the shower. Usos, by the way, who are fully clothed, pulling off some fucking jackass MTV-type antics on Monday Night Raw. It's AOPP all over again. It's not as bad as AOPP, but it's still pretty fucking bad. And a way to embarrass the Revival. I don't understand it. This is Vince McMahon. This is Vince McMahon and his fucking shit humor. And all the traits of the sociopath that I just went over, rearing its ugly head already. Miz TV. Bobby Lashley is on Miz TV. I don't know why this man is still on TV. I really don't. No Leo Rush. Apparently Leo Rush has backstage heat with the WWE. Something along the lines of a confrontation with Finn Balor. Leo Rush reportedly has been bringing his wife to the pre-production meetings and, you know, whatever happens before Monday Night Raw. She sits in and watches them go over what they need to go over in the ring before the show starts. So Finn Balor made a mention, per the report, this was Sean Ross Sapp, that Finn Balor mentioned to Lio Rush, well, Vince McMahon doesn't like you bringing your relatives or your wife or anybody to what we do here. You know, she could stay in the back, but don't come out and watch us do what we got to do. Apparently, this was said on multiple occasions, and Lio Rush took offense to it. And he got nasty with Finn Balor, and Finn Balor is one of those guys where you hear him talk and you hear him interviewed, and you just get a sense of him in the photos that he takes with fans and how fans love him, that he's the most down-to-earth fucking nicest guy you could ever meet. So, I don't know what the case is, but Lio Rush, apparently, they reported that if you don't see him on Monday Night Raw anymore, don't be surprised. That's how much heat he has in WWE. But he's got no Lio Rush anymore. And a Bobby Lashley Miz TV segment clearly was the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people. Nobody was watching the show after this at all. So, every time Bobby Lashley spoke, fans were giving him the what treatment. He asked The Miz what he's done. Miz laughed at the very question being posed. He listed all of his title wins. He mentioned you can go look at his career on Wikipedia. And Miz says he's an overachiever. Have you seen my wife? So Lashley brought up what happened between Miz and his dad and Shane McMahon. He said he had an opportunity for payback at WrestleMania, but he screwed it. No wonder your father thinks you're worthless. And Miz attacked Bobby Lashley and knocked him out of the ring with a boot to the face. Cut to break. And our nightmares are revealed after the break was over. Bobby Lashley versus The Miz on Monday Night Raw. This went 3 minutes. Lashley speared Miz for the win. When Shane McMahon came out and distracted The Miz, Shane put up a picture of The Miz's dad on the Titantron, which distracted The Miz, led to the spear and the pin by Bobby Lashley. Afterwards, Shane taunted and kicked and punched, and I use the word punched loosely here, by Shane McMahon, some of the worst punches I have ever seen. Ever. Punched The Miz. Miz fought back. Lashley then yanked The Miz off of Shane McMahon. Shane started to punch The Miz some more, and he put this headlock. He wrapped his legs around The Miz and choked him out, which looked to be it looked like a modified figure 4 on the head and shoulder area. Maybe it was a triangle choke. I don't know what the fuck it was. Choked him out, and then Shane McMahon says, just remember this, I am the best in the world. Threw the microphone on his forehead and walked away. Now, for everybody wondering and asking, well, isn't Shane McMahon on SmackDown Live? I still got this question posed to me last night. The answer is no. The McMahons are running both shows. Yes, I understand that it's easy to forget what the WWE said months ago, but the McMahons run the show. That is Raw and SmackDown, both Monday and Tuesday nights. There's no Shane McMahon and Paige. There's no Stephanie McMahon and Shane McMahon running the shows. It's the McMahon family running the shows. So Shane can show up wherever he wants. He wants to show up on Monday Night Raw and attack The Miz. He can certainly do that. But he's also on SmackDown Live feuding with Roman Reigns and teaming with Elias. So this is what I pose. I don't know what's going on with Shane McMahon. And I really don't want to see another fucking authority set up on these programs. But if WWE is starting an authority program with Roman Reigns, let's have fun with it. Let's have fun with it. Shane McMahon could start his own authority. It could be Elias. It could be Lars Sullivan. It could be Bobby Lashley. For the first time in a while, and I don't believe I'm going to say this, Bobby Lashley actually looked right taking command from Shane McMahon. Bobby Lashley looked the part in playing the muscle to Shane McMahon. Instead of taking orders from Lio Rush, which died 3 weeks after they paired them together, for the first time in forever, Bobby Lashley looked right taking orders from Shane McMahon. I don't know how you guys thought about it. I'm not excited about it whatsoever. But Bobby Lashley looked to be in the correct situation for the first time since being back in WWE. That's all I'm going to say about this. I don't find this to be exciting. Shane McMahon and The Miz are now scheduled to be at Money in the Bank inside a steel cage match. I still don't know why WWE is booking Shane McMahon in matches at pay-per-views, taking spots away from active members of the roster. I don't understand it. You got all this talent, and you opt to book Shane McMahon on pay-per-views in matches? This is a new era. Supposedly. This is a new era for WWE. Hardly. Viking Raiders versus the Lucha House Party. This match was not good. I don't know what you want me to tell you here. The Viking Raiders beat the Lucha House Party. They did the Thor's Hammer. Hanson and Rowe did Thor's Hammer, which I guess is their new finishing move. WWE calls it the Viking Experience because they couldn't bear to get rid of the fucking name. So, Lince Dorado and I guess Gran Metalik and Kalisto, they attacked the Viking Raiders before the match. If you watched NXT last week, the Street Profits did the same thing. They attacked the War Raiders. Yes, the War Raiders. Because they were still called the War Raiders on NXT. They attacked the War Raiders. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins attacked them before the bell rung in the aisleway. Lucha House Party did the same thing, and this is stemming from an attack last week in which the Viking Raiders didn't even have a match with the Lucha House Party. They just laid waste to all three guys. So the Lucha House Party didn't even make their introduction. They ran down the aisle. They attacked both Hanson and Rowe, and they tried to get the one up on these guys. It didn't work. Thor's Hammer for the win. And man, do the Viking Raiders look fucking out of place on Monday Night Raw. Out of place! It's like they're cool in NXT. They're intimidating in NXT. They're must-see. They're like, oh shit, who the fuck are these guys in NXT? On Monday Night Raw, not one fucking peep from the crowd. Not one peep. Their entrance in NXT alone. They even changed that on the main roster with the smoke and the lights and the candles and that fucking Viking theme. Now, all they do is come out, they do their pose and their stance, and they got a fucking logo on the Titantron that says Viking Raiders. Nothing special about their entrance whatsoever. Meanwhile, NXT tried to make them stars, did make them stars. Monday Night Raw killed all the appeal of the Viking Raiders. 3 weeks, done. War Raiders, Viking Experience, Viking Raiders. If you don't think that had anything to do with people not giving a shit about them, you're a fucking idiot. You're a complete fucking idiot. I don't know what to call these guys. Neither does anybody else. By the way, Michael Cole, and I mentioned this on Twitter, Michael Cole mentioned the Viking Raiders, just like how I'm doing it. Every time Michael Cole, especially towards the end of the match, every time Michael Cole wanted to say something about the Viking Raiders, he stuttered. He stopped. There was a long-winded pause. The Viking Raiders. Mike Rome even did it at the end of the match. And the winners are the Viking Raiders. As if they wanted to call them the Viking Experience. And you don't think that WWE's already fucked these guys in 3 weeks. You're a fucking idiot. Unbelievable. Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss is in the ring. Man, I can't wait to end. This show sucks. Just reading all this shit over again, it just fucking sucks. Alexa Bliss is out again. Oh my God. She's announcing the women's Money in the Bank. Out comes Natalya. Great. I don't give a shit about it already. She says she's never won a Raw Women's Championship. But when she wins Money in the Bank, this will all change. Bliss blew her off and then announced Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke. This looks to be already the worst women's Money in the Bank ladder match of all time. Now, Dana Brooke could be there as a buffer. I mentioned this on Monday when the local advertisements had Tamina Snuka out there. Dana Brooke could be used as a buffer. She could be used as one of those women that just fills the slots in the match and takes the most abuse in the match. I don't know what the case is, but Dana Brooke is not winning this match at all. And if she does, that is absolutely embarrassing. Embarrassing. And I have to mention this because I know nobody else is going to mention it. Did Dana Brooke get facial surgery or did she get some type of plastic surgery? She looks completely different from the last time I remember Dana Brooke. Now, maybe WWE requested she gets plastic surgery because they wouldn't push her unless she got a little bit more artificial. I don't know. She certainly doesn't look natural. Maybe WWE told her, listen, go and get whatever you need to get done. Come back and we'll push you. And she's partially blonde, isn't she? Now she's got plastic surgery. She's already got all the other aspects of a blonde that they like. Maybe WWE's turning Dana Brooke into their next blonde project. I don't know. So we got Dana Brooke, we got Natalya, we got Naomi. Naomi is there. Naomi said she's a former 2-time SmackDown Women's Champion and now her goal is to become Raw Champion. She said she'll win Money in the Bank and whoever the champion is will get all this glow. Natalya and Dana chimed in. Bliss said they're worse than the men. Dana Brooke, I don't know what the fuck she was saying. She took the microphone and started yelling at Natalya, you get all the opportunities. I don't know if she was drunk with fucking whatever Titus was feeding her earlier in the day. Maybe Titus was serving some wine spritzers during catering. I don't know. She was looking at Natalya, legitimately telling her, you get all the opportunities. I'm like, honey, you're talking to the wrong woman. You gotta be aiming that frustration at the one who can't wrestle wearing the black leather pants. It's not Natalya that's getting all the opportunities. It's Alexa Bliss who gets all the opportunities. And who do you think the fourth woman was? Was it Ruby Riott? Was it Ruby Riott? Was it Nikki Cross? No, it wasn't either one of those women. It was Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss is the fourth woman who is chosen for the Money in the Bank. Now, I have to be fair for all the cretins out there that want to chime in and say I'm a sexist or I am contradicting myself. I guess you got to have Alexa Bliss in there for the same reasons that Braun Strowman could be in there. She's a defending women Money in the Bank briefcase holder. That's the only reason why she would be in there. But having her announce herself on her own show is not a good look when you got fucking Ruby Riott sitting at home not being used. I don't know why Ruby Riott is not in the match and Dana Brooke is in the match. Did Ruby Riott get punished? Does she have backstage heat? Why is Ruby Riott one of the best female workers on the roster and she's not featured in something like this? I don't understand it. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. What about Nikki Cross? I thought this was a new era. I thought this was a shakeup with new opportunities. You don't think Nikki Cross would love to be in? You don't think Nikki Cross would make that match better than who the fuck you got in that match right now? I don't get it. And again, no qualifying matches. What did these women do to get an opportunity for Money in the Bank? Did they give out hand jobs in creative last night? Fucking ridiculous. So Alexa Bliss and Naomi, I don't know why there was a match made out of this, but apparently, as Natalya and Dana chimed in, Bliss said that they're worse than the men. She asked them for the dignity of the women's division to let her finish introducing the final entrant. She revealed that the final entrant is herself, and Bliss and Naomi got into a back and forth, and Naomi challenged her to a match tonight. Bliss obviously making excuse after excuse after excuse that she was not dressed for it, and Naomi said it's clear Bliss isn't as good as she says she is, which is legitimately the truth. So the match is on. Firefly Funhouse. We got Firefly Funhouse number 2 last night. And it was trending number 1 on Twitter, by the way, which I guess a lot of people were interested to see where this thing went. Episode 2 aired, and Bray was in a brown cardigan. His sweater game is completely on right now after 2 weeks. That much is known. Bray was painting and said it's a way for him to express his suppressed feelings. He says when you're expressing yourself, no one could ever truly hurt you. So we got a scary-looking rabbit that popped up. Now, the rabbit was shown in the logo of the Firefly Funhouse, and we got a name for him now. His name is the Rambling Rabbit. So, Bray showed him, Rambling Rabbit, the painting, and it was a house on fire with what looked to be Sister Abigail inside. It was a picture of the Wyatt family compound burning with what looked to be Sister Abigail inside. He hung it up. And then Abby the Witch. Now, a lot of people were kind of confused at the name of the witch. It was Abby. Abby the Witch. I don't know what you guys were thinking of last week, but it is Abby the Witch for Abigail, Sister Abigail. It's all, parts of Bray Wyatt's former gimmick. You got Mercy, the Buzzard, which is a take on Waylon Mercy, which is fucking awesome. And Abby the Witch, which is Sister Abigail. So Abby the Witch woke up and started talking to Bray Wyatt. Rambling Rabbit ran away at this point. Abby said Bray was a bad boy and didn't learn his lesson about messing around in the funhouse. Bray said that's part of the past and he's really sorry for what he did. He looked at the camera and says, "Can all of you forgive me? All of you forgive me, right?" Kids cheered and yelled, yes. Bray said Abby the Witch is a bit of a sociopath, which I gave you the meaning of in the beginning of the show. So, Rambling Rabbit returned and asked if sociopath is the word of the day. Bray agreed it would be. He spelled it as it appeared on the screen in big colorful letters. Bray said that all the time they have for today, or that's all the time that they have for today, but as always, he'll light the way, and all they have to do is let him in. Now, when he said this, he looked very sinister. When he said these words, he says, that's all the time they have for today, but as always, he'll light the way, and all they have to do is let him in. And this sinister look came over his face, and then he broke into a smile and waved goodbye. And that was it. Episode 1 was a lot better. There was a lot more to dissect here. I don't know how much of it there was to dissect last night. It still was trending number 1 on Twitter. It still was the most viewed thing on WWE's YouTube channel for the night. So it's still working. I think people are still invested in it. They need to really hit that high note for episode 3 next week. And I want to see more of the back and forth between the good Bray and the evil Bray. We got a glimpse of it on episode 2 at the very end. Whereas in episode 1, we got the hurt and the heel on his gloves, the hurt glove talking to him breaking into his old voice, his old Bray Wyatt tone on episode 1. We got the chainsaw, which is very Bray Wyatt, just very, maniac-esque. So we got a lot more to digest and dissect on episode 1, whereas part 2, you got some of that Bray Wyatt feel from the older character with the compound painting and the sociopath. Pretty much them telling you not only WWE creative, but Bray Wyatt is a sociopath. We know this. So I'm still enjoying it. It's got to get to a point where WWE can't waste too much time doing what they did this week. They got to open up the character a little bit more. They can't remain stagnant with this at all. So we'll see what happens with episode 3, and I hope that they do take it to that next level, because compared to week 1, it did feel kind of flat, and I'm hoping next week that they take it to that next level. Alexa Bliss versus Naomi. This went 6 minutes. Naomi won with a rear view and a split-legged moonsault. Alexa Bliss was not in wrestling gear, which I'm sure made all you fucking cretins and virgins on social media very happy, because Alexa Bliss wrestled in her dark, black, tight leather pants. And I want to see how many people are going to chime in and say, oh, well, JD, her shoes were untied. She couldn't give 100%. If you people legitimately call Alexa Bliss a professional wrestler, you have a fucking problem. You have severe mental issues if you call this woman a professional wrestler. Alexa Bliss is fucking terrible. I don't know if you guys remember last year during the Money in the Bank ladder match. She laid on the outside for most of the match. I don't even think she took a bump on a ladder last year. Expect the same thing this year. I seen Brian Zane mention something on Twitter this morning before I hit record. He was wondering, and he legitimately asked the question, has Alexa Bliss always been this way, in which she's taken very little bumps in the ring? And he cited it with the question, is it something that's been happening for a while and we just didn't notice? Or is it WWE protecting Alexa Bliss in a way to A, save her from Money in the Bank, or keep her safe from coming back from what was a concussion injury? I don't think it's that. Alexa Bliss is not a professional wrestler. Alexa Bliss is nothing more than a made-up Barbie doll that WWE likes to flaunt out there and throw out there wearing tight outfits, pushed up tits, tight leather pants that show off her main fucking asset, legitimately, and people go crazy for it. And then in turn, people think that she's some sort of great fucking 5-time multi-talented women's champion. And it came to a point last night on social media where I got in a back and forth with people who were attacking me because of my stance on Alexa Bliss. And they're blinded by their infatuation with how she looks. That's all it is. I had someone attack me, and I go to his profile, and he had the word Bliss Fit right in his profile. I call him out on it, and he tells me, oh, well, that wasn't there before. I just put that in there during Monday Night Raw. Sure you did. I scroll down a little bit more. The guy's retweeting porno videos with fat women shaking their ass. This is Alexa Bliss's fan base. If you think Alexa Bliss is a professional wrestler, you have a fucking issue. You're only blinded by what the woman looks like. 5 title reigns for that woman is 5 too many. She's only where she is because of how she looks. Believe me. This woman does not take bumps because she doesn't know how to wrestle. She doesn't take bumps because she doesn't want to take bumps. Alexa Bliss is the very reason why the women's evolution is fucking garbage. Alexa Bliss is the reason why the women's evolution is not really a women's evolution. You cannot put this woman side by side with a Charlotte, with a Becky, with an Asuka, with a Sasha, with an Ember Moon, with a Kairi Sane, with an Io Shirai, with a Candice LeRae, with a Bianca Belair. You can't do it. They are professional wrestlers. Alexa Bliss is not. When I look at a professional wrestler, I look at Tessa Blanchard, who may be the best women's wrestler in the world. And you got people so blinded by the fact that Alexa Bliss wears dark, tight, black leather pants, and you think that she's some fucking 5-time women's champion who deserves all these accolades and reigns. Mental issues. You are nothing more than a fucking virgin who has obvious in real life women issues. You cannot get a woman for yourself, so in turn you stalk, and by the way, very creepily stalk Alexa Bliss and everybody, Carmella, and everybody like that, because you can't get yourself a fucking woman. So you attach yourself to Alexa Bliss because you can't attach yourself to a woman like that in your real life. Don't at me. She is garbage. Complete and utter fucking garbage. The fact that her her shoelaces were untied is not even an issue. Shoes, no shoes, pants, no pants. She sucks. She sucks. The fact that her shoes were untied makes no difference in the fact that she can't wrestle. Becky Lynch. She's interviewed in the ring. Same old fucking promo from Becky Lynch. Becky 2 belts. Caruso's in the ring. Said Becky made a decision that would call, or many people would call, impulsive. She asked about agreeing to defend her belts in one night. Why would you do this? Caruso says to Becky. Fans chanted Becky 2 belts. Listen, Becky is still over. People love Becky. Becky is still, in my eyes, interesting. But I will say this. Without Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey on television going at each other's throats, the Becky Lynch act is fading away very quickly. Very quickly. And it's something that a lot of people are noticing. I don't think Becky's popularity is a direct result of whatever she's doing. I think it's WWE putting her in this position and really didn't give any thought about what they're doing with Becky Lynch, in turn, killing Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is being overexposed. The titles are on Becky Lynch, both of them, when they don't need to be. WWE should have made an executive decision. Drop one or unify them. And WWE has not done that. They very well could do that at Money in the Bank, but all of this time, with 3 weeks left to go, is not doing Becky Lynch any favors. The fact that Becky Lynch is showing up on Raw and SmackDown Live, saying the same thing over and over again, it went from WWE having Becky Lynch go out there saying she beat Ronda Rousey. She even mentioned Ronda Rousey again. Ronda Rousey's been off TV for 4 weeks now. She's not an issue. I don't want to hear that you pinned Ronda Rousey. You pinned Ronda Rousey. What has WWE done to build off pinning Ronda Rousey? Nothing. They've overexposed you to a point right now where when Becky Lynch comes on TV, I don't care. You don't care. They're putting her in a match against Lacey fucking Evans. Might as well be Alexa Bliss. Garbage. Complete garbage. She's got all the makings of the next Alexa Bliss. Plays her role well, but can't fucking do a goddamn thing to make me interested. Soon as the woman's music hits, I'm fucking done. Done. She's done nothing to get a title shot, yet I'm supposed to invest my time in someone who's done legitimately nothing to get a title shot. Why am I going to buy into Lacey Evans? Have you ever asked yourself that fucking question? Or are you blinded by the blonde hair, the big tits, and the fucking long legs? What has WWE done, as far as Lacey Evans goes, for you to buy into Lacey Evans? Nothing. Are you going to buy something that you don't know anything about? Are you going to go buy yourself a new fucking computer without reading the specs on the goddamn thing? Are you going to go out and buy a car without test driving it first? Fucking ridiculous. Are you going to go see a band play live, headline the fucking show without hearing their goddamn music? Open your fucking eyes and use your head! How could you buy into what they're selling with Lacey Evans? The only reason why she's there is right in front of you! And at the same time, they're killing Becky Lynch! Everything they did at WrestleMania, wasted. This promo was fucking terrible. Same shit every fucking time. She says, and I only know how to fight. You're fighting a battle you cannot win. Caruso then says she's greatly increasing her odds of losing one or both. Then she mentions WrestleMania. I've been defying the odds, including the WrestleMania main event. There you go. After that, I'm zoned out. I'm zoned out. So Becky said she accused Charlotte of holding the division and the titles hostage. So there's no way she'd be able to do that as double champ, even if she puts her at a huge disadvantage. She said she can talk about impulsiveness and odds, but she didn't make history by dodging anyone. She did it by beating everyone. She said while Lacey likes to sneak attack, she's going to tell Lacey exactly when and where her beating is coming, and it's going to be at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So, Lacey, we see a clip of Lacey punching Becky Lynch last week, which the women's right, by the way, is the worst finishing move in WWE. If you think that's a finishing move, you have a fucking... You're the same people that thinks Alexa Bliss is a professional wrestler. So Lacey came out. By the way, Becky did say again, and it's done on purpose. She said if Lacey isn't too busy backstage currying favors, come on out and get some payback so she can remind you of who she's dealing with. Lacey comes out. She said, isn't it just like a man to want what he wants when he wants it? She said she warned Becky last week not to let her temper get the best of her. She said she didn't listen, so she's done talking. She charged towards the ring and a big melee broke out. Again, I ask you, how could you be invested in Lacey Evans when WWE has told you nothing about Lacey Evans? Not one video package, not one speck of information on her backstory. The sassy Southern Belle. And they're building off of this with Becky Lynch and the fact that she's calling herself the man, and Lacey Evans is a woman. She's a woman. How could you go around calling yourself the man? Which is ridiculous in itself, and the only reason why Becky Lynch is calling herself the man is because she was embroiled in a fucking feud with Charlotte Flair, whose father used that reference in a career that has given him the greatest fucking pro wrestling career in history. To beat the man, you gotta beat the man. That's the only reason why she's saying it, because it was a dig at Charlotte and where she came from. Now they're spinning into some fucking bullshit, women's rights. Fuck out of here. How could you call yourself a man, How could you belittle women in such a manner, in a way that you're calling yourself the man, while being a woman's not good enough? This feud is complete garbage. Garbage! I would not be surprised if Lacey Evans wins this fucking match. I hope that she doesn't. Not saying she's never going to be a champion, because just by her looks alone, she'll be given the fucking title 10 times over. I see Charlotte winning the fucking title. Becky staying on Raw. WWE splitting up Charlotte and Becky for the time being, because right now it's at a situation that Charlotte and Sasha found themselves in. Got to get them away from each other. Lacey Evans is going to bring Becky Lynch to a match in which she loses, but gets the best of Becky, and has Becky go into the match with Charlotte, not 100%, which causes Becky to lose the SmackDown title, and the SmackDown title goes over to SmackDown Live on Charlotte Flair. That's what's going to happen. I just saved you fucking hours of mindless television. Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder versus The Revival. They got new theme music, new theme song, god-awful. The Revival didn't sign a 5-year, $500,000 per year contract, and they lose in 4 minutes here to Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. You want them to resign, and you want to give them a reason that things are going to get better. Having Scott Dawson's back shaved and then losing in 4 minutes to 2 bums is really going to do the trick. God-awful. Sami Zayn stood in the ring. Sami Zayn was in the ring, and apparently he said during his time off he learned psychology. He said his joy during his time recovering from shoulder surgery included soul searching and deep introspection. and learning about various subjects of interest to himself. He said when it comes to psychology, it helped him understand you people. He said fans have been talked into believing they're always right, and it's called psychological entitlement. This is Vince McMahon speaking through Sami Zayn. It only gets worse. A graphic on the screen said it means someone who believes they are entitled to more or is entitled to more than others. Sounds familiar, he asked. He said fans throw little baby tantrums when they don't get what they want. He said it's almost not their fault. He said nobody in Lexington, Kentucky would understand if he explained it in detail. You all know I'm right. He said a 5-year-old once cried when he turned to him and asked for an autograph. Obviously, Sami said, he said no, and he went right back to the father. But he's given the fan everything, and he didn't understand why the kid was crying. I've given the fan everything he deserves already, with 17 years of 5-star matches. He said from now on, he'll give fans only what he decides they deserve, and he'll hold them accountable for their actions. He said it would be amazing to quit WWE, but he'd rather be the critic of the critics. He said they've been drunk with power and nobody has had the courage to stand up to them. He said he's taking the power back. He dropped the microphone and left the ring. Sami Zayn is relaying everything that Vince McMahon is feeling to the live audience because Vince McMahon can't do it himself. Vince McMahon won't ever do it himself. Everything that Sami Zayn mentioned here, and this gimmick is going to die 1,000 deaths if this continues. For the first 2 weeks, I was on board. This week pissed me the fuck off. This was garbage. I don't know what their fucking agenda is. I don't know who they're going to feud him with. I don't know where he's going with this. I don't like my intelligence insulted. I don't like being told I'm wrong when I know and everyone watching me knows that I'm right. This show sucks. Psychological entitlement? We wouldn't feel entitled now if the fucking shows were booked the way that they should be booked. And the talent treated like they should be treated. A graphic on the screen says, someone who believes they are entitled to more or is entitled to more than others. He said fans throw baby tantrums when they don't get what they want. What are we not getting? A good fucking television show. What are we not getting? A show that's booked with fucking common sense and logic. Is that so much to fucking ask for? Am I wrong for sitting here, going over and critiquing the opening segment, asking you all why those 4 men are in the fucking Money in the Bank ladder match? Am I wrong for citing reasons of why? Why I want an explanation as to why they're there. Then I'll get the fucking, the complaint. Why don't you just enjoy the show for what it is? How can I enjoy the show for what it is when the show's making me dumber? How can I enjoy the show for what it is when there's questions on top of questions on top of questions as to why WWE isn't doing the right thing? This is not entitlement. We're entitled to a good show. We are entitled to a show that makes sense. Not this fucking bullshit, and then you got Sami Zayn going out there spewing this fucking garbage coming directly from Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is taking the form of a fucking Irish, well, whatever the fuck Sami Zayn is. He's got a fucking red beard, ginger, dancing around to ska music. Drunk with power and nobody has the courage to stand up to them. Yeah, no shit, Vince McMahon's drunk with fucking power. Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio. I'll give you one guess how this match ended up. If you said Joe with another L, you are correct. You are correct. And win nothing more than frustration. Joe is the United States champion. How many matches has he won as United States champion? I can't even fucking tell you. Rey Mysterio wins, and I'm sure this grants him a United States Championship match at Money in the Bank, because that's how WWE does things. Throw the champion into a non-title match, he loses against whomever he loses to, and then that same match is booked at the fucking pay-per-view in a title match. Instead of building up the fucking great mid-card they have and finding a legit contender. No, but it's all entitlement. It's all entitlement. What did Sami Zayn say? It's all entitlement. Little baby tantrums, right? Fuck out of here. Michael Cole's in the ring. Thank God this is almost over. Michael Cole's in the ring. AJ and Seth, contract signing. Fans were getting up and walking out. When you have AJ Styles and Seth Rollins in the ring and fans are getting up and you physically see this happening on television and they're getting up and walking out, that's not a good thing. For a match that you're putting together merely out of desperation to battle and contest Double or Nothing the following weekend. That's the only reason why this is happening. Now, we are on Raw. Styles says he had 2 great years on SmackDown. And everybody knows Raw is where the craziest fans are. The craziest fans? Or the most comatose fans? I don't think AJ knows where he is, really. You know, you're not in Jacksonville, bro. He said that people have often said Seth will be the next AJ Styles. He said people say he's stronger, faster, and younger. He said the truth is he will never be the phenomenal AJ Styles. Seth was listening and smiling. Then said Styles is right, that there's only one AJ Styles. He said as much of a compliment as it is, he never wanted to be AJ Styles. He wanted to be the next Seth Rollins. He said things are different around here. He said that the ropes are red. It's Michael Cole and not Tom Phillips. And this is Monday Night Rollins and not the house that AJ Styles built. He said we'll have to see. You'll have to be more than phenomenal. You'll have to be more than phenomenal to take the Universal title from him at Money in the Bank. Styles says he knows what Seth did to get where he is. He said he ran himself ragged and then mockingly asked if he was obsessed with proving he is a thoroughbred. How are you holding up, he asked. So Styles says he has no doubt that they'll burn it down and I will build it back up. He asked Seth about being without your little team. And I'm watching this and I'm like, there's hint number one. There's hint number one. How is it being without your little team who used to hold him up? He said he doesn't think that Seth has a lot left at this point. Styles said he's ready to go now. He said his shirt says never rest, never rust. He said he'll be the bulldog nipping at the heels, and at Money in the Bank he'll latch on and sink his teeth into Seth, and he won't let go until he's standing over him as the new Universal Champion. Seth said Styles doesn't seem to understand what he's saying. He said they share a lot in common, but while Styles likes to build things up, he likes to tear them down. Seth said while they have similar backgrounds, he did something Styles never did. And he says, I beat Brock Lesnar. He said that's why he's standing there holding the Universal title while Styles is trying to take it away from him at Money in the Bank. He said he was at his best when he beat Brock at WrestleMania, and he'll be at his best when he beats Styles at Money in the Bank. He signed the contract, and that was pretty much it. So, Cole stepped aside. Styles picked up the belt, looked at it, then handed it to Seth Rollins in a very, I would say in a very dickish, heel-like way. Seth held it up, and they were nose to nose for a stare down. As Seth continued to mount off to Styles, Styles wanted a handshake, and Styles didn't do it, or Seth Rollins didn't do it. So Styles then punched him in the face. There's hint number two. This led to a big brawl. He hit a dive through the ropes, did Rollins. Rollins was back in the ring, yelling at Styles from inside the ring as Rollins was on the outside. Styles comes back in with a punch and then a phenomenal forearm and sent Rollins crashing through the table with a phenomenal forearm. And that was pretty much the way the show ended. This was a decent contract signing. Typical that the contract signing ended with a table breaking at the end of it. Regardless, We mentioned this last week. The reason why this match is happening is because WWE needs to combat Double or Nothing. This match is a WrestleMania main event. This match is a SummerSlam match that should have been. I don't know why WWE is doing it this early, but WWE clearly has an agenda up their sleeve. I don't know what that is yet. All I'm going to say is this, and I'm going to throw this out there for you. The fact that AJ Styles mentioned you don't got your little team with you anymore. Ambrose is gone. Roman's on SmackDown. Rollins is all by himself. That's hint number one. Hint number two is the fact that AJ, I don't know if WWE is going to turn AJ heel, but I think we are at a point right now where AJ needs something new. Not only does AJ Styles need something new, Monday Night Raw needs something new. Monday Night Raw does not have a legit top-level heel. They don't. That went out the window with Andrade. Andrade could have been that. Lars Sullivan is on SmackDown Live. He was the next big freak to come into WWE, hyped up as the next big thing. Drew McIntyre is not that next-level major heel. WWE has not positioned him in that way, and he doesn't feel that way. By mixing in with Baron Corbin, he feels like a nobody. Baron Corbin is not a major main event heel. WWE does not have a major main event heel on this roster. Robert Roode could be that. I don't see WWE putting all their eggs in the Robert Roode basket as a major main event level heel. There's only one man right now that WWE could potentially make and make believable as a major main event heel on Monday Night Raw. Rollins has no heels to battle on Monday Night Raw. And if he does, it's going to be the Corbins and the McIntyres, and we've seen that already. We've seen it. AJ, no matter how you think of him as a babyface, he needs a change-up. He needs a fresh look. He needs a new attitude. This house that AJ Styles built, this phenomenal bullshit, it's fine. It ain't doing anything to fucking set the world on fire. It ain't doing anything to bring viewers in. Now, if you got AJ Styles turn heel on Seth Rollins and you use Gallows and Anderson to do exactly what I said while AJ Styles was first debuting in the WWE, this is 3 years coming. This is 3 years in the making, 4 years in the making. WWE didn't do it then. WWE is more apt to do it now. Why? Because of AEW. WWE is going to take AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson, and they're going to re-envision the Bullet Club on Monday Night Raw, and I hope it is in the way of a hostile takeover. Because they need to. They need something to get those people to watch the show. They need something to invest them in Monday Night Raw. That could potentially be it. And on top of that, WWE doesn't want Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson leaving in September when their contracts are up to go to AEW. There are more people than you are led to believe in WWE that want out. You're not going to hear about that. More people in WWE week by week want to leave because of the way this show is creatively booked and how they're feeling creatively. If WWE is putting the club back together on Monday Night Raw, it's for the reasons I gave you about Double or Nothing, and the fact that they don't want Gallows and Anderson to go to AEW and be bigger stars over there away from WWE because it would cite how creatively garbage WWE is. It would show that WWE is a creative failure. Just like with Luke Harper. They didn't want Luke Harper to go to AEW and release him from the contract. Why? Because they don't want Luke Harper to go anywhere else and be a bigger star than he was in WWE. Because it would make them look bad. WWE is doing this right now because they have to. WWE doing this, or at least thinking about it, falls in line with everything that I just mentioned. Everything. How they play it off, I don't know. Does Roman come back over from SmackDown Live? Does Dean Ambrose just magically show up and battle the Bullet Club and re-sign with the WWE? I don't know. But all I know is, as long as Rollins is the Universal Champion, he needs a major level main event heel to feud with. There is nobody on this show. AJ Styles and a reformation of his club on Monday Night Raw could definitely be a starting point. I just don't think WWE has the best creative intentions for it, and they're using it merely out of desperation. We'll talk about that more when we see this develop over the coming weeks. I'm getting the hell out of here, guys. Thank you so very much. Until then, I will see you all on SmackDown Live. Enjoy your days. Hit up the videos that you might have missed earlier in the week. Everything you need is linked in the annotation that you see in the top right corner. If you guys want to follow me on social media, at JD from NY206 on both Twitter and Instagram. And make sure you guys go get your t-shirts. The JD's Elite, bonfire.com. The online store is linked down in the description of this very video, man. Thank you guys so very much. I will see you all tonight for SmackDown Live. We'll find out the fate of the Hardys, and we'll see what WWE has in store for Money in the Bank as far as the men's and the women's participants on the blue brand. Until then, guys, have a great Tuesday, and I'll see you tonight for SmackDown Live.